Account. I got really motivated in 2016 when Trump started to run for president. I stayed on the sidelines for a long time, and he got me motivated and got me to get loud, get out there, start talking to some people. So I started the grassroots efforts down here after I got invited to a MAGA Meetup up in Washington, D.C. So I kind of brought everything down here. Believe it or not, this is only our third MAGA Meetup. And this is the type of crowd that we're starting to get. We started off with about 20 to 25 people, and it's kind of grown out to here. We're starting to get some repeat business and some referrals and people just word of mouth and everything. And I appreciate everybody for coming out here tonight. We're going to have some great speakers. We've got Loomer in the house. We've got the Vice President for Latinos for Trump, Bianca Garcia. Sheila Jackson Lee down. We've got AvaforCongress in the house. Kind of what we're going to do here. Bianca's going to get us started, then Ava's going to go. Laura's going to wrap us up. This whole event is for free. I am a salesman at heart. I have talked them into giving us all this for free. Captain Kirk, I do ask that you open your hearts, your minds, and a little bit to your pocketbooks open to the people that are coming out here to speak tonight, though. Laura is probably the most censored person that I've ever seen on the internet. They've taken PayPal from her. They've taken Twitter from her. It's up to us in the grassroots to support her. Okay?
Let's go!
There should be some sheets of paper on your tables. We can pass them around after some people get their stuff loaded up on their phone. It's got a link to where you can go to donate to Laura. Okay? If you want to do it by your card or anything, you can go straight to there and do it. Okay? It's got a link on there for Ava. We need to get her up and running so that we can take Sheila Jackson Lee down.
Yes.
Okay? Laura's here so that we can try to raise some money so that we can Loomer Sheila Jackson Lee. There's not a single person in the mainstream media that said one thing to Sheila. Everybody should know, but some of y'all may not. Sheila Jackson Lee is in some hot water right now. Okay? She fired a staffer after she reported a rape at the Black Caucus Foundation. Okay? She did not want it getting out. Well, it got out. Okay? She's now in the middle of a lawsuit with this staffer. Okay? We need to get the word out there about this. We need to get the word to her voters. And we need to use our collected efforts to help Laura do some work to get it out there. Okay? We need that to get done so that we can get this woman right here elected. We need that seat and we need to turn it red. Whoever donates tonight, I've brought some stuff. I'm an autograph collector. I'm a memorabilia type of guy. I've brought some stuff where if y'all donate, take a screenshot. Or if you're donating when we're coming through at the end of this, we're going to line up. We're going to come through. I want everybody to get a chance to meet Laura. I want everybody to get a chance to meet Bianca. I want everybody to get a chance to meet Ava. This is what you're coming out here for. They're here to support you. You're here to support them, okay? So, once we're all done, we're going to flip the chairs around here. I want y'all to come file through. Anybody who donates, you're going to get... That's okay. If you're a Texans fan, they make a great Christmas gift to somebody else. I got an autographed copy of Trump's America. Okay? Newt signed it right there for you. Okay? We got any Astros fans in the house?
Yeah.
Dallas Keuchel signed back?
He's a pitcher.
That's right. But I got a whole bunch of stuff. Would a George Springer hat work a little bit better for you?
Yeah.
Then donate. I need your money and you'll win. Okay? No, it's not silent auction. The more you donate, for every $10 you donate, I'm going to give you a ticket. I got tons of them. I got tons of them. I can give you more tickets than you got money, I probably. Okay? Once again, thank you everybody for coming out. I appreciate all your support. I never thought my Twitter account would get big enough to do something like this. And I appreciate everybody who supported me through all of this. And we're going to continue to grow and we're going to continue to get better. Thank you guys so much. I truly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. All right. Yeah, I'm just going to start us off, okay? Woo-hoo.
So I don't prepare speeches.
Those are the best kind.
I know. I just kind of speak from my heart. First of all, I just want to say a prayer for everybody in this room because I really thank you all for coming together, and I really believe that my personal journey has been given to me because of the grace of the Lord, and because I continue to do the Lord's work. Because at the end of the day, that is what it is for me. There's a bigger picture behind Trump for me. There's a bigger picture behind everything in saving America, and that is, working for my Lord. So I just want to come to you, Heavenly Father, right now and just pray for everybody in this room. I thank you for them being here and that they just return home and that you safely just speak to them. And I want to bless them. And I just want to ask that you give more of our leaders boldness and prosperity and supernatural health, and that you just pass that on to them in your name, Jesus. Thank you. Amen. Amen. So, since I never prepare speeches, I'm like, well, what do I talk about? First of all, just real quick, so y'all know kind of how I got to where I'm at. Originally stay-home mom, 10 years, homeschool my kids. My husband's HPD. He works a lot in combat and human trafficking. He's ex-military, Army. My brother I have two brothers actually, ex-Army as well. My younger one, he's like 32, 33 now. My younger brother is a 100% disabled veteran. And so when the elections started, I was never really politically involved. I was a community organizer. So anything a baseball mom, team mom, room mom, anything you can think of, I was involved in. And so, but when I heard Hillary Clinton talking about that there was no problem with the VA office, then that's what got me started, because I knew my brother was suffering. And the fact that, he contemplated suicide at a time and was, we were from the coastal area, and he sat on a beach thinking of committing suicide because he was in so much pain and he couldn't get the help that he needed. And so when Hillary Clinton said that there was no problem with the VAs, that ignited me. I was just like, oh my gosh, she is the biggest liar ever. Growing up in South Texas, we are traditionally brought up as Hispanics to vote Democrat. So all my life, I was Democrat until Obama came around and my mom said he was the Antichrist and we needed to start voting Republican. Thank you, Mom. I guess she knew better. We thought something was wrong with her. She's been, she was Democrat all her life as well. And so we thought, she's just getting old, maybe getting some, not Alzheimer's, but dementia. And so we had 7 brothers and sisters. We were like, I don't know, poor mom. But she was adamant up until the last day. Did you go vote? Did you go vote? Did you go vote? Did you go vote? And we're like, yes, okay, we're going to go vote. So number one key for Hispanics that people I think don't realize is that the person really moving the household is the mother. So we do have, our Hispanic males, they're like, oh yeah, I run the household. But in the end, it really is mom. It's like, go ask your mom, go ask your mom, go ask your mom. It happens in my household. You can't even buy a pair of shoes until you say, go ask your mom. And so, that's something within the Hispanic community. But that all ignited. I worked really, really hard. We started a group called Latino Trump Coalition here in San Antonio. I'm not in San Antonio. I am in Houston. So we started here. I flew out to Florida because we kind of were like on, realizing who was out there. The mainstream media would not talk about any kind of minority supporting the president. So I flew out to go and march with the Cubans for Trump, out in Florida against Jorge Ramos, who was lying to our people. There was like 2,000 people. They like got it. I was like, why do the Cubans get it? And here we are in Texas, and we're like at the forefront of this, and we don't get it. But I learned from them, and so we came back and we started doing the flag waving, just pop-up flag waving events on the corner. So I believe that because of our grassroots efforts, because we didn't have the media on our side, and we didn't have anybody else on our side, and we didn't even have the campaigns on our side. So we really were boots on the ground. We really did what we needed to do on the ground. And so after victory came, so many of us bawled because we couldn't believe we had won. We knew we were going to win, but you just had that, you just didn't know, at the end, because it was like, it was 10 points, in the lead. And so it really spoke volumes of the work that activists did across the country. There was no one doing it alone, and there was just so many of us. But after that, a call came. I thought it was to go speak at another event, because they had me speaking at events. Oh, Latinos for Trump, or, and so they asked me, they were like, oh, wait, do you have a resume? And I'm like, wait, resume? You need my resume to go speak? They're like, no, we're looking for, an engagement director for the Republican Party of Texas. And I'm like, wait a minute. I don't have a resume because I haven't worked in 10 years. They're like, oh, well, never mind. Don't worry about it. I was like, oh, no. You said job, J-O-B. let's have a conversation here. And remember, President Trump now had promised jobs. So I was like, first one to get a job, a stay-home mom after 10 years, and I was now over the whole state of Texas as a Hispanic engagement director. President delivered. If there was anything, other than that, even my mom was proud. She was just like, my daughter was cheerleader. Yes, she was cheering for Trump. And everybody's like, and she's like, but now she's the Hispanic engagement director for the Republican Party of Texas. and they were, everybody, it's like, we're from a little town in South Texas. They're like, you tell her that whatever she needs. I was like, how does that work? Okay, whatever. I'm gonna need y'all. And so I started this movement. I started this listening tour, and we caught it was awesome, because we were just going from city to city and touring. We were actually bringing in Hispanic people and saying, we didn't want to tell them that they were Republican. I wanted them to know the difference, and I wanted them to know why I was a Republican. And so we brought in a whole bunch of new people. I got in people as precinct chairs. We got people just involved in whether it was a Republican women groups. I was plugging them in everywhere, wherever I could. So that's kind of been my thing. But then God had another plan. And God was like, well, let me tell you something, child. You're going to, number one, you're going to bring light into the dark. Number two, you're going to be rise an army. And number three, you're going to go hold pastors accountable. So I was like, okay, I don't know a pastor. I'm a Catholic. I know a priest. So I run into the priest, and I'm like, Father Al, you got to help me. And he's like, nope, no politics in here. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Well, what am I going to do? So the Lord knew what he was doing. He brought somebody to me. He said, how can I help you? The guy said, I'm looking to work with pastors. The guy said, well, my mom knows a pastor. So brings a pastor, and and the pastor comes and talks. And I said, you're supposed to help me. And he's like, let me get this straight. You want me to help the Republican Party, or Hispanic people are having heart attacks because they hear the word Trump. They're that traumatized because they think that he's going to come knocking on the door and deport everybody. And so you want me to help you with this? And I'm like, listen, buddy. Pastor, with all due respect, please go pray about it. Maybe I'm just crazy. And come back and let me know that I'm crazy. But why don't you go pray about it and then call me? for 3 weeks. And one of my friends said, he hasn't called. I was like, no, don't bother the pastor. When God speaks to him, he will come back. So the pastor comes back after 3 weeks and he says, I'm ready to talk. So I'm like, okay, great. And I'm thinking, please say I'm crazy, please say I'm crazy, please say I'm crazy. Because I didn't want to really go on this path. But no, he had a different plan. So the pastor says we've been praying for 3 weeks in my congregation and the Lord says I'm supposed to help you. And I was like, no! I wanted to be crazy. So he opened the door to pastors across the whole state of Texas. I was vetted across the pastoral congregations, and so today I find myself to the Hispanic evangelicals, and they call me the mother of pastors. Now I have pastors in North Carolina, Florida, and California, and I am joining them together to rise up as warriors of the Lord so that they can now be politically involved as they should be. Yeah, and Rafael Cruz, who is such a dear friend of mine, helped me with that mission. And he came in and I brought him into the Hispanic churches and he was teaching them why they are supposed to be politically involved. Yeah. So we have ignited a whole new base out there that typically doesn't vote. Now some of the pastors were voting, and believe it or not, when I vetted them and looked at their voting records, they've been voting conservatively Republican for years, and no one had knocked on their door. And they weren't telling their congregations anything because they thought separation of church and state, we do not talk about politics. But Bianca Gracia has now told them different. And President Trump has helped us by signing that on National Prayer Day, he signed that declaration that now allows them to speak and that IRS won't come against them. Yeah. And so they're becoming bold, they're becoming, we're educating and we're spreading awareness within the Hispanic communities. They're helping us. I'm identifying leaders within their congregation, specifically the youth. The pastors have asked me to train their youth. And so that's what I've done. And I have found some amazing Hispanic conservative Christian youth. And they're now coming to me and they're saying, I want to run for office. I either want to run for council, mayor, school board. I want to run for something. And I'm like, praise God. They're energetic, and they're, I've told them, I say, what I can do for you and what I have learned in such short time is I can help you with the right connections, but I can help mentor and train you with the best things that I know how to do, or connect you with the people who do have the trainings so that we can make sure that you are successful in running for office. And if all the pastors, I tell the pastor, if your congregation gets behind this person in your congregation that's going to run for office, and all of you pastors, now that I know who you are, all you pastors now can talk to each other, and you tell all the other pastors in the congregations to vote, that person will get voted in. And we will start taking back our cities and our state. And so that is just kind of where I have been and what I have been doing. So I'm president of Leaders de la Comunidad. It's Leaders of the Community. That's that is the organization I use for the pastors. And so we're just a little bit, much more subtle and quiet and just concentrate on education and awareness. And then, of course, as Vice President of Latinos for Trump, last year we fully organized. We are a federal PAC, a state PAC here in Texas, and we're a nonprofit. So we can maneuver around. We have helped candidates, and so what I'm hoping that will happen is our patriots, because our Latinos for Trump, they're not afraid. They're bold. They're out there. They're gonna come and just plow over you, and we're gonna spread the message. Our pastors are a little bit more, conservative, and they're not gonna come out and be like flying flags or anything like the patriots do. So what I really am hoping is to see an uprise, is what I call it, a remnant uprise within the Hispanic community that's going to come out in 2020, and we're going to finally move the needle like we have never moved it before. Yay. Thank you. So that's just so that y'all know how I got to where I'm at. And who knows where I'm really going, but I continue to do God's work, like I said, and I work with these two organizations. Right now, we are heavily involved in helping Fred Rangel in San Antonio in that special election that has never been held by a Republican. In that seat, it's House District 125 in San Antonio. Never, ever, ever has it been held by a Republican. So if we win on Tuesday, it will make history. So I went in there last Monday. I promised that I would go in and do a MAGA rally for Fred. And of course, you know, this is Julian Castro's territory, mind you. So I'm not afraid. So I went and I'm like, we're gonna do a MAGA rally. And we did. We brought in 40 people that no one had ever seen, because it's our regular conservatives, you know, the regular Republican women that are working there. And so, you know, these people came in, and I didn't know that the newspaper guy was in there. And they had endorsed the opponent. So he was calling me the next day. I didn't recognize the number, so I hadn't answered it, but then I finally did. And so he interviewed me and wrote an article, and he pretty much put it out there that Fred Rangel had gotten a MAGA boost from Latinos for Trump. So everybody's like, oh my gosh, this is nervous. I mean, you know, this is gonna make either the Democrats work harder or something's gonna happen. But I really honestly believe that was one thing I did. But the other thing that I did with my Leaders de la Comunidad is I got Fred Rangel in front of 100 Hispanic pastors in San Antonio, where they allowed him from one day to the next. You don't call up any kind of congregation and say, can we get in to speak in your, you know, function. You have to wait months or weeks or whatever. This was one day I asked my local pastor, the leader there, and I said, listen, I'm not asking y'all to let him speak, but can you at least pray over him? And they brought him in. They said, no, bring him in, we'll introduce him. They gave him 20 minutes to speak in front of 100 pastors in San Antonio. Then they prayed over him. And I felt I knew at that point, I said, this will be ordained by God. This is gonna happen. We're gonna win. We're gonna make history. But the San Antonio Express did put out an article. It's you all can look it up. Anyway, one of the things that I did was I targeted the opponents' people and the Democrats in San Antonio, and I send them a nice little ad, pro-life, pro-murder, because the opponent also got endorsed by Planned Parenthood. So obviously I did something right, because Planned Parenthood blocked me from Twitter. Yay!
Yes!
It's okay. I'm just gonna go and extract, that's right, if you're listening, I'm gonna go and extract all your followers now, and I'm going to add them to my little Twitter, you don't know what I do on Twitter. But it'll make them mad. They are very mad. We've been reading their tweets, and they're like, you cannot let Trump come in here and take it away, as if Trump's on the ballot. But that's how scared they are. They really are scared. So I'm hoping for a MAGA historical win for Fred Rangel. And everybody has come out for him, guys. So please do follow. If you know anybody in San Antonio, please encourage them, if they live in House District 125, to go out and vote on Tuesday. So I thank you all for listening to me. You guys can go follow us on latinosfortrump.us. We have membership there, as well as just sign up so that we know where you're at. We can put you on an email list. And then, of course, our donate button is on there as well for our PAC. So we do help our candidates. And so I just thank y'all for giving me the time. And anything I can do for y'all, please let me know. I really want to help our president, and he knows that. I have been to the White House, and so I have sat in some of the faith-based advisory meetings that we have had, so that our Hispanic pastors, I've taken Hispanic pastors there to also hear what is going on, because the mainstream media doesn't talk about what our president is really doing. So we are making huge strides, and I'm so glad I can share that with y'all, because I guarantee you none of what I've told you today did y'all have any clue what's going on.
Yeah.
So I just thank you so much, guys, and have a blessed day.
That's an amazing story front to back. She's doing some great work out there. I don't know if you guys follow her on Twitter or on Facebook, but as far as my Facebook goes, I'm more of a Twitter guy, but when it comes to my Facebook and I open it up, she's one of the hardest working people in the MAGA movement that I follow. She is out there grinding day and night, night and day, weekends, holidays. She's out there doing it. We need everybody to get out there and help her in her efforts that she's doing. Follow her, please. Facebook, Twitter, look her up. What's your handles?
I have my business card here too, so they want it.
Okay. You guys are gonna get a chance to meet her and everything when we get done at the end. Please follow her, please support her. I'm sure there's people that you know in these areas that are other than ours that she's working in that you can pass the information along. These grassroots efforts are really what we need in order to succeed in 2020. Okay? Thank you so much. We appreciate you. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Rock it out, Ava.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna have to use the speaker though, or the mic.
Is it hot?
Yep, it's hot. Just turn it on the microphone.
Turn what? Volume up?
Or just on the microphone, turn it on. There we go.
Ava.
Thank you so much. I have my speech, so y'all are gonna have to bear with me here. I definitely want to speak more from the heart. I want to speak from the heart, but I also want to get my words across to you, my communicate with you on what I want to say to you as far as running on this campaign. Nations fear us because we are one nation under God. I want to get my words correct here. America is truly a miracle. In fact, in the very word America is miracle, is in miracle. We are a Gentile nation that God spoke of helping Israel. We have become part of them, and they have become a part of us. We must stand as pillars of integrity. We must keep our faith in God and not in ourselves. Serve one another in love so that we don't depend on our government, but on God. Each and every one of us have a mission to accomplish. And as a representative of Christ first, and a representative to our nation, America, our goal is to protect we, the American people. Our loyalty is to God and America. We humble ourselves before God and thank Him for our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, His sacrifice of love. And we stand and honor the American flag. We stand free because of men and women who make a sacrifice to stand on the edges of earth protecting us. We honor God, we honor our fellow Americans, and we honor the United States of America. I am Ava Pate, the Republican candidate of U.S. House of Representatives in District 18. God willing, I am going to overturn Roe v. Wade. No more of dismembering of tiny lives, but saving more lives for future generations. Right now, we are losing approximately 100,000 babies each year to abortion. More than 400 women have died from legal abortion. That's not illegal abortion, that's legal abortion. Since 1973, no more young women dying from abortion, and no more of taxpayer dollars using to fund abortion. As a representative of Texas 18, Planned Parenthood is going to pay back every life that survived their vile and horrific act of trying to abort their life. And it will pay back the families that lost a loved one.
Yes. Amen.
As representative, that's what I would like to do. As a representative of Texas 18, my hope is to have people returning to live and not leave our district. Parents and students will have a choice without the red tape, no more failed schools, but more successful schools with young adults to enter the world with real jobs. I'm ready to work with small businesses, trade schools, and colleges to train our young adults who couldn't finish school or decided college was not for them. And as our veterans who need extra training can become more efficient in skills that best fit them. We need to equip and empower our people, the American people. Jobs are not just for satisfying our hunger to be better, but for helping others along the way. That's who we are. We must continue to give small businesses tax breaks and less regulations to enrich Texas 18. As President Trump is working on fair trade, I'm ready to work with him on that.
Yes.
And the one that I'm sure y'all are all just waiting for, the walls.
Woo! Yes! Woo! Build the wall! 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 Build the wall!
Amen.
It's actually being built.
Yes.
In World War II, the government issued war bonds as a debt security for purpose of financing military operations during times of war. American patriots were ready to give of their own money to help. We could do the same with the war bonds, as you have seen on your table. I don't know if any of y'all have seen that. We could do the same with the war bonds to fund building the wall. I believe we have a lot of patriots that would be willing, especially in this room, to do the same today. Securing our borders is necessary. The Democrats in Congress, Sheila Jackson Lee, are for open borders. Honestly, I don't think they know what they are for anymore.
Yeah.
As the old saying goes, if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. And I believe that's where they're at right now. Open borders means open season for criminals, sex traffickers, drug cartel, and gang members on innocent lives. We must build the wall.
Yes!
And guys, ICE has been put in place to keep things in line, keeping justice at the very forefront. As Americans, we never compromise and we will never surrender to a socialist ideology. And we cannot forget our veterans. It is our duty to always honor them by making sure we provide the best health and mental care. I would support any legislation that would help our veterans. And I do love the fact that President Trump just signed an executive order addressing one of our nation's heartbreaking tragedies of veteran suicides. As it is with Trump, President Trump, that none of our veterans will never be forgotten, so will it be with me. And we must continue to take care of our infrastructure in Texas 18. I will work with state and local government where federal funding may be needed in our area. And one of my biggest concerns, as I'm sure it's yours, we must balance the budget and get out of the habit of using continuing resolutions. That must continue. We can and we will create and leave wealth to our future generations. I believe our government needs to slow down and work on the loopholes in our legislation instead of creating more legislation that is burdening the American people. I need your help to go all the way in 2020, AvaforCongress. You can help by getting the word out, block walk with us, contribute to my campaign, AvaPateForUSCongress.com, or, of course, vote and get people to vote AvaforCongress.
Tell us who you're running against.
I am running against Sheila Jackson Lee. Someone made the comment to me about you can make your dream come true. Well, I want to let every one of you know My dream is to build a shoe cabinet, and to have a salon for a bride and groom, open a salon one day for a bride and groom. But as of right now, it is my duty to run for Congress. And that's why I'm here. To protect the American people. I want to thank Kurt. Thank you, Kurt, for the invitation.
Woo!
Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for your time. God bless America. God bless you. God bless Texas. United we stand.
You did a great job. We all want Sheila taken down.
Yeah.
This is the woman that can do it.
She's been in office for 20 years. Lord.
And she ain't done nothing. She ain't helped nobody. She has done nothing for you.
She's a poverty pimp.
That's right.
She's the reason we moved out of Harris County to Fort Bend County.
I don't blame you. Okay, so we'll get out, we'll support Ava, okay?
Yeah.
Now for our guest of the night. Okay, remember, we are raising the money so that we can get Sheila Lee Jackson taken out of office. And we have got a weapon here with us tonight. Laura Loomer.
Thank you so much for having me and inviting me out here. It's a pleasure to be out here in Houston. I flew in today all the way from Palm Beach, Florida, where I live, and I'm just very excited to be here. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name's Laura Loomer. I'm 25 years old. I'm a conservative investigative journalist. I'm originally from Tucson, Arizona, and I just decided, one day when I was in college that it was my duty to start fighting back to save future generations and to save people in my own generation. I was asked by Kirk and his wife to tell a little bit of my story because a lot of people just know me from my videos, my Loomer videos online, many of which go viral. A lot of you have been following my story in terms of the censorship I've been facing from the giant social media companies, but a lot of people don't really know how I got started and why and how I began doing what I am doing today. I was the president of college Republicans at a university called Barry University in Miami, Florida. And one day I was in a theology class and it was 9/11 and the professor had told us that for class that day we were going to go to this interfaith ceremony at the university. And when I got to the chapel, I'm Jewish, but it was a Catholic school. I had gotten a scholarship. They had this pamphlet. It was 2 pages long, and it was for, a 9/11 memorial service. So you would think that for an interfaith ceremony, you would have different faiths represented. Well, a page and a half of the 2-page document on 9/11 was dedicated to Islam. And then when the memorial began, they started the memorial by allowing an imam to chant Allahu Akbar. And I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, as somebody, I was 8 years old when 9/11 happened, I just really was shocked in that moment that a university would allow for an imam to come in on 9/11 and take over a 9/11 memorial service. And then they took it a step further and they asked the students and the audience to start chanting Allahu Akbar with them. And it was at that moment that I realized when I was president of college Republicans that we are under attack in this country. There's a spiritual warfare, there's a propaganda war that's taking place, not only on college campuses, but all around our country and all types of institutions, where they're trying to brainwash our youth, and they're trying to silence us, and they're trying to really just indoctrinate us into becoming politically correct, silenced individuals who, just follow the agenda that's given to us either by, these left-wing educational institutions or the very biased left-wing media. And so then I posted about it, and mind you, I was just a regular college student at the time, posted about it on Facebook. And, you never really think when you post something on Facebook that it has the power to go viral. Well, my post ended up going viral, and it was reported on by, Pamela Geller and Breitbart and all types of different conservative media outlets. And the university, as a result, they threatened to kick me out, they threatened to suspend me. But it was at that moment that I realized that, I as an individual, my voice mattered, right? And all of you in this room, regardless of where you come from, regardless of where you went to school, how much money you have, where you're from, your voice matters, and you can make a difference, right? And after that, I went to this political conference where I met James O'Keefe. How many of you guys know James O'Keefe, Project Veritas, right? He's great, he's wonderful. So, I began working for Project Veritas when I was a senior in college. And I did an undercover video expose at my university because I wanted to expose a lot of this political correctness. And I thought to myself, well, as a college Republican, you face so much backlash. And I thought, I wonder what would happen if I started an ISIS club. So what I did is I got an undercover hidden camera. I was working for Project Veritas. And I went to the university administrators and I told them that I wanted to have an ISIS club. And people listening, you may think it sounds really crazy. Like, wow, who would fall for that? Who would allow an ISIS club? Well, the university did, and it was all caught on camera. And I told them that I wanted to have a club called Sympathetic Students in Support of the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. Long story short, the university approved it. The video went viral, and 1 month prior to graduation, I was kicked out of college. I was set to be valedictorian at a 4.0 GPA, and I was permanently expelled from my university 1 month prior to graduation for telling the truth, for exposing the evil that exists on our college campuses, right? The evil that exists in our society. After that, I moved to New York full time and I began working for Project Veritas, where I was undercover in the Hillary Clinton campaign for about 2 years, exposing a lot of the voter fraud and a lot of the corruption. And about 2 years ago, I left Project Veritas and I decided that I wanted to be independent, right? I left Project Veritas. I had probably $1,700 in my bank account. My rent was $1,200 living in New York at the time. And I just decided that I was gonna take a risk. And one day I stormed the stage of Shakespeare in the Park. I don't know if you guys remember that play.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's kind of what happened, right? Overnight, instantly, I got a following of about 40 to 50,000 people and became this internet sensation. And from that moment on, I just kind of continued my journey of using my voice and my bravery and my courage to stand up to evil, to stand up to the leftist machine. And that's what I do now. I go around the country and I confront some of the most notorious, well-known, exactly, Loomer. I Loomer people. I go around and I confront some of the most notorious left-wing politicians. I've confronted Hillary Clinton, James Comey, Maxine Waters, just a lot of people. Avenatti, there's a lot. I mean, sometimes I forget who I really confronted. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And it's a gift that, I don't know where it came from. I don't know, how I really became the way I am. But it's a gift that I find necessary to share with other people. And that's what I do. I go around the country and I confront politicians because as I mentioned before, we are experiencing a severe form of spiritual warfare and a battle in this country, right? It's no longer a fight between the right and the left, right? It's a fight between right and wrong.
Yes.
And it's our duty as patriotic Americans to use our voice and to, stand up against this evil and to do what we can in our own communities. And, I tell my story because I want people to know that it doesn't matter where you come from, right? It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what your education background is. It doesn't matter, what kind of adversity you face in life. All of us have the power to stand up to these people in our community. We all have the power to, stand up to people like Sheila Jackson Lee and others who, are part of this destructive nature. And I see a lot of you, on your cell phones right now. You may be asking, like, how does one get started, doing these type of videos or confronting people? Well, that's what I did. When I stormed the stage of Shakespeare in the Park, I had my cell phone. And a friend of mine was live streaming, and it became viral. And, the next day, I got a call from Sean Hannity, and he was asking me to come on his program, right? All you need is a cell phone. All you need is a cell phone and a social media account, and you can do this too. You don't need to have the backing of, multi-million-dollar media companies or mainstream media conglomerates like Fox News or CNN behind you to do this, right? You don't need to have a graduate degree. You don't even need to have a college degree. You just have to have the courage in yourself and the passion and the drive to stand up for your country and to do something.
Yes.
And unfortunately, not enough people are doing that. And we talked a lot about the grassroots. Everything in this country, all the change, and really everything from the political level, educational level, starts at the grassroots. And because the mainstream media has failed to really keep a lot of these political figures and our representatives and elected officials accountable, to hold them accountable for all of the corruption and fraud that they're responsible for, people have come to feel powerless. But what they need to remember is that these representatives, they work for us, right? We don't work for them.
That's right.
They have to answer to us. And so I hope that, the videos that I do and my story, I'm not backed by multi-million-dollar organizations. George Soros doesn't pay my bills, right? I don't get a paycheck from Fox News. I just do this off of the generosity of the American people and people who support me. And I became very effective in what I do. I have helped transform elections, right? President Trump mentioned some of my videos from the time when I was working at Project Veritas during presidential debates. He's tweeted some of my stories before, of course, my undercover videos. And I've traveled across the country to different communities and have gathered members of the community and other activists and, just everyday people who want to see change. And together, we've confronted politicians. We've caused people to resign from positions. I traveled to Minnesota, where about a year or so ago, I led an investigation into Ilhan Omar.
Who warned us? Loomer warned us.
And, the primary tool for which I was using to communicate to people was Twitter, right? And we see how powerful social media is as a tool for awakening the masses and for really educating people and mobilizing the grassroots. And that's why, there's such an effort right now by these big tech social media companies like Facebook and Twitter and Google to silence conservative voices, because they see that's how Trump won his presidential election, right? He reached out to the people directly. He bypassed the traditional means of communication and communicated to people via social media. And that's what we're all doing, right? We're all using our social media platforms and the resources we have available to us to communicate to people. And so, I was talking with Kirk about the situation here in Texas. And I would love nothing more than to, use my talents to help you guys combat Sheila Jackson Lee. And I hope it's been very difficult because I had 265,000 followers on Twitter. And like I said, my investigations were really impactful. Keith Ellison ended up resigning from the DNC after I exposed him for his domestic violence and presented the police reports and the medical records from his former girlfriends. And it came out, the Wall Street Journal actually reported that CARE, how many of you guys know what CARE is? The Council on American-Islamic Relations. Right, so CARE actually lobbied Twitter and Facebook to shut me down because I was going after a lot of these jihadi candidates and anti-Semite candidates, one of whom is actually Sheila Jackson Lee. I mean, the mainstream media doesn't want to talk about it, but she, along with several other members of the Black Congressional Caucus, had a meeting with Louis Farrakhan, right? And we have very evil individuals currently serving in our government, people who hate Jews, people who hate America, people who hate Christians, people who want to impose Sharia law on the population here. And so CARE actually held a meeting with Twitter and Facebook to shut me down because my investigations were exposing all of the candidates that they were supporting and endorsing. And so I hope that come 2020, I can spend a lot more time here in Texas. I'd love to train members of the community and inspire you and, share my talents and skill set with you so that you guys can also show up to your meetings, whether they're city hall meetings or community meetings, school board meetings, or even on the campaign trail, right? I would love for you guys to make your own Loomer videos and hold people accountable. And, PayPal, as he mentioned before, Kirk mentioned, PayPal banned me as well. And so I've effectively been shut out from online commerce in terms of raising money to fund my investigations, and it's just up to everyday people who send me checks or, other measures, which I'm trying to, get other forms of processing on my website. Even Chase Bank, believe it or not, they kind of shut down my online access for a while, and it wasn't until One American News did a report about it that they gave me back my online access. But what's happening to me can happen to you as well, right? When you become powerful and when you're able to communicate with people, the left will find any way possible to shut you down. And we see how violent these people are. When they're not able to use violence, well, then they start, manipulating through the internet, manipulating through the big tech companies, and that's what they're doing. They're shutting conservatives down financially. Right? They're banning people, they're shadow banning us, they're trying to censor us online and silence our accounts so that we can't spread our messages, because that's what the grassroots relies on, right?
Yes.
We connect. I mean, how many of you found out about this event through social media? Right? A lot of you. So just imagine if that's taken away from us, right? And so it's essential that we all stick together and that we fight back and we find ways to communicate and work together, because they see how powerful it is. They see how powerful our message is when we come together as communities across America to share our message. And when we use these social media platforms, they try to shut us down. But regardless of the censorship and regardless of what they've done to me by taking away all of my platforms and my ability to raise money and operate my business fairly in America as an independent journalist, I'm still fighting, and we can't give up because they want to silence us. They want to defeat us, and you have to stay strong. You have to stay strong, and it is a spiritual war, and that's why we all just have to pray for each other and come together and support one another. And I'm just really looking forward to 2020. I'm very excited to hold people accountable, and maybe come back and Loomer Sheila Jackson Lee and Pate and other politicians as well. I usually have a video that I show, but they didn't have a projector. But I have a YouTube channel. You can go to my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/Laura Loomer, and you can see the videos that I make and kind of my style. It's very in-your-face, aggressive form of guerrilla journalism. But this is the only way that you can really hold these people accountable now, because unfortunately the mainstream media, they're colluding with the Democrat Party. I mean, they don't want to report the truth. They don't want to let you know that Sheila Jackson Lee silenced a rape survivor on her staff. They don't want to let you know that they're having meetings with anti-Semitic leaders like Louis Farrakhan, who think that Hitler was a great man and called Jewish people termites. They don't want you to know, and it's very dangerous what's happening in our country right now. It's very scary to think of some of the individuals who are now in positions of power, but it's up to all of us. Right? It's up to all of us, and it doesn't matter. Like I said, I always tell people, because people say, oh, I wish I was your age, and if I was 20 years younger, or if I was in your position, I would go do what you do. Well, nothing's stopping you. Anybody can do what I do, right? I showed you before. I really literally got started with a couple $100 in my bank account and my cell phone and a social media account. All of you guys can do what I do, and I hope to see more people inspired by what I do to take power into their own hands and hold their officials accountable, because, there's nothing more that I would love to see than just empowered people across America who are using their skill set and the resources available to them to hold people accountable. And you can make a difference, and I hope that it inspires you to go out there and hold these officials accountable as well. So thank you. Thanks for having me.
So how do we help Laura?
That's right, John.
Donate.
We donate, okay? They've taken PayPal. PayPal won't let her get no money.
GoFundMe.
GoFundMe won't let us give her money. In America, they won't let us give her money. They won't let her accept our money. Okay?
Comments.
How much would you love to see Laura's next video be? Sheila Jackson Lee. Just go. Doom! She can't say nothing. She's completely scripted. You get her in Sheila's face, Sheila's gonna fold.
Yes.
Okay? She has no idea what she's doing. She's a complete disgrace. I ask you. Thank you for opening your mind. Open your hearts. Open what you can out of your pocketbooks tonight. And let's make this happen. We have the two people here that can be the beginning of taking Sheila down. Ava says something that I always loved on Twitter. Bye, Sheila. Bye.
Bye.
Okay? Let's make it happen. In front of you, y'all have the paper there, okay? Please. You've got Loomer. You've got Ava here, okay? Take the time within the next few minutes. Open up your cell phones, iPads, laptops, whatever you got with you. If you want to do cash and checks, I'm sure that they're happy to take those too. Okay? Sorry?
I have a website, it's lauraloomer.us, and you can also go, another thing you can do, even if you can't support financially, is go to the website freeloomer.com and sign the petition, because I want to help raise awareness about the social media bias and censorship of conservatives, because this is how they want to win the election. They want to steal the election by silencing conservatives and by deplatforming us and blacklisting us financially, and so.
What's their mailing address?
If you, well, I can give it to them.
We can get that when you guys are coming through, okay? What I'd like to do next, though, is give you guys a few minutes to be able to do this. That should go to your revenue.
Yeah, you can even just go to loomer.rev.co. You don't even need to do the general fund.
Loomer.rev.co. Okay, you guys can do it through there. AvaforCongress.com. That's Ava's, okay? Please take a few minutes to do so. I'm going to get these chairs lined up on this side, and I ask you guys to kind of just open that up. Please donate what you can, okay? And come through. And I want you guys to come through and file down this way, okay? I'm going to ask that once you do it, show me what you did. I'll give you some raffle tickets. We're going to raffle off some stuff in here in just a little while. I'd like to collect some information from y'all too. I won't share this with anybody. I just want to get your information so that I can let you know about future meetups that we have right here, okay? All I'm going to do is push it out. You guys put the info out there if you guys would like to come back and join us for upcoming events that we have too, okay? So if you guys can take just a few minutes, do that, start lining up here, coming across this side. I'm going to get some other chairs, and I'm going to get all three of the ladies that were absolutely wonderful tonight, okay? Thank you guys so much. Yeah, I'm gonna sit you up right here.
This one's mine for later.
She wants that one for her.
They're gonna sit over here and they're gonna sign.
I'm gonna set it
So far, so good. Now if I go to he's reading, he goes, there's nothing. Yeah, that's good, because I'm watching it on this phone.
John? John. John.
One more thing. I I had a question for Ava on behalf of the Gospel Gunslingers. I'm Pastor Sam, the founder of the Gospel Gunslingers.
All right.
Ava, if we send you to Washington, we get to keep our guns, right?
All I have to say, if they want our guns, come and take it.
All right.
Got a chair, be okay?
Oh, you are?
I will definitely accept it. I think it's moved there.
Yeah, definitely. Come over here.
After we get done doing all this, we'll go back out there and we'll socialize a little bit more in the bar area, in the outside area. I'll get all these tickets separated, we'll put them in something, and then I'll go out there and I'll pull them and we'll start to give away some of these prizes and everything. No. Somebody said no. But yes. If everybody could sign the flag at the end too. When you're done, please sign the flag. We want to take a little momentum from this meetup. Try. I'm only awesome as well to you though.
This way. And that was a year. What was that? Healthcare for illegal aliens. What year was that? That's been a long time. You know what? It's going to happen. There's too many people too angry. You know, I talk to too many people throughout the country. And like try. I don't like I do good with this stuff. I don't like controversy either, but I'm a small business guy that got pulled out to fight. And we're going to fight. I'm with you. Well, maybe not. All I'm saying.
That's my mom right there.
You get to do that one time.
Yeah, I would be nervous too, but
I ran against
I'll let y'all know about the next one. I never
No, I ain't trying to get online. Just stay in there and get drinks.
Y'all talk about Montgomery County being Rock County. And then we see the rest of Now I feel
I donated to Trump. One of those rappers.
I think, was.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't think my website is
Yeah, and if he would have gotten rid of what he could have done with the bus and everything, he would have turned it. He got
Well, he's just fighting for in a realm, in a realm.
They're very big into barbering.
But it's also really cool when I treat people and I got to and the worst that's so bad for myself and for other people. People would message me and I would try to give other people advice. Like, I didn't really spend a lot of time. I was on my phone all the time. But I mean, I was helping people organize and there are people now who where to tell people to start moving. A lot of
oh yeah.
I know a little bit about it.
How do I spell your name?
Some of these people have been out since you've been working over.
I've been at it since.
That's what we're in town with Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, thank you. Did we just get
I'll help you go through this. Oh, you can't use that for all its fancy.
There's a green. No. Yeah, they were green.
Oh, wait, it's not.
The guy that before they before they demolished it, I made the guy that marked. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He was like, because I got more stuff
In case you don't know how to find you're not leaving, are you?
There was a guy, he was a black guy. I went down and told him. He only got
Get shut down and we open up another meeting. I think we've been talking about setting up one of the towns like Black and Roll, shut one down.
It's only gonna get worse, honestly.
As soon as the elections pick up,
I wouldn't be surprised if they ran Trump. Really, honestly. Because they already deleted one of his tweets like 2 weeks ago. Yeah.